joining in. We are ready for week 3 of the NFL season because we are not live, Siglin. We are not.
Thank the Lord, but we are here and ready to talk and give you our input. Hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you listen.
Yeah. A little bit different setup here. We're going to be rocking back with Sig and the Big here on Fishing Elephant Media. Talking some football, though. We're releasing a little mini episode here to talk about the Thursday night football game. And Sig is slamming the hammer down because we have a bit of a snooze fest, but we're going to break it down anyways. The divisional matchup against two teams who are 1-1 and one who is looking better than the other in the New England Patriots going up against the wild card of the New York Jets. To break it down, the Jets are 6-point favorites in this game. There's an over-under of 38.5 as of the recording of this episode. New England is plus 220 if you take them on the money line. Siglin, I'm going to swing the mic on over to you. What are you thinking about this one, buddy?
I would honestly take the Jets in the spread. I just think they have a little too much offense. They couldn't contain Seattle's rush, and in my opinion, if the Jets can get both of their running backs going, they could have the nastiest rushing tandem in the league.
Well, and I think when you're looking at offensive performance, obviously week 1, the Jets, they were saddled with a tough opponent in the 49ers. Even sans Christian McCaffrey, you're talking about an offense that at the time was healthy with Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, and then Jordan Mason made a name for himself. They definitely ratcheted up week 2 a lot better. I think Aaron Rodgers looked a lot cleaner when he didn't have rushers in his face 3/4 of the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that Tennessee front four might not be something to fuck with.
No, I agree. Agree to hear. I think you're going to face a much easier opponent here, but also still a defensively stout team. I think you're going to have guys on the Patriots defense, unknown guys like Keon White have been kind of making a name for themselves the first couple of weeks. Talking an upset in Cincinnati, also a game that went into overtime last week. So the Patriots, a team that everybody kind of thought would be, the floor mat of the NFL. We thought Drake May would be starting. It'd be a lot of rough times here, but coming in, we've seen a completely different team. They're a veteran-led team by Jacoby Brissett. They're playing smart, old-school football, and that's how they're winning games. They're on the backs of Ramondre Stevenson. I guess I don't know how to feel about 6 points for the Jets here, but I do think the Jets handedly win this game behind what you talked about, the combination of Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, and we'll swing it back to you to talk more about what Braylon kind of brings to the offense to complement, Breece, who really carried everything last year.
He gives him a couple plays off, but knowing you have a competent back to still make the play that's needed. With that being said, you're forgetting one big player on the Patriots, a guy who I love, hate now, Cargo. I think he is almost going to make Garrett Wilson a little bit obsolete in this contest, and you're going to see a lot more passes go to like Allen Lazard or Tyler Conklin. Hell, you might even see a Malachi Corley get in there.
All right, so as we're talking picks, we're going to transition to fantasy. Would that be your first then sit of the week would be Garrett Wilson? Probably going to take some under on his props there. As I look him up here, I'll let you kind of break that down as to what Christian Gonzalez has really meant to this Patriots defense last year before he got hurt, and then now obviously the first 2 weeks shutting down guys like Jamar Chase and then even DeAndre Hopkins, to a point.
If it wasn't for the DK getting by him on the blown coverage, he probably would have ended up stopping that too because he held him the rest of the game. But besides that, what I will say is not necessarily, if you're in a PPR league, I'd keep him in because he's going to get his short little screen passes that aren't going to go much. But if you are not in a PPR league, I see him having like 5 or 6 catches for 57 yards, and he might be like a dude who sneaks in that touchdown. But it's not going to be what we were seeing from last year.
Well, and I think it's completely unknown too because we had Aaron Rodgers for all of 4 plays. There was definitely some rust the first game against San Francisco. You're also talking about going against a better defense in the NFL. A lot of factors going against him. I think over time we're going to see the chemistry develop, but also time is not something that's on Rodgers' side with Garrett Wilson, so they have to figure it out quick to be elite. I think they have a good rapport already. You can see the passes if you're watching the game get ever so close. And that's why I think this week you have the combination of Breece and Braylon. You have a lot of options. There's just not enough guys on that Patriots defense. They're too young. They're too thin. And we saw a team like Seattle beat them in overtime last week. I think, once again, this is going to go for the Jets. Little nervous on the 6, but give it to me anyways for the Thursday night game. Once again, though, we're going to talk about fantasy. Garrett Wilson, kind of someone you want to stay away from. Feeling Aaron Rodgers, though, this week, really pending your league and how deep you are, might be a guy to pick up, depending where you're at.
I'm pretty sure he's probably on most rosters. But with that being said, I think the biggest issue with Garrett Wilson was switching to 5. I think that Aaron just likes seeing that 1-7 on the field, and I think that kind of fucked him.
You know, he's got to miss Devontae. And, yeah, seeing the 5, you know, he's going to Alan Lazard because at least Alan has the same number. 10 is, you know, he sees the numbers, and it makes sense because in a psychedelic way, doesn't it, really?
He never really threw to a 5. Like, he's never thrown to a 5. It's new to him. Old man, new number.
I love that's your logical take on this game. Don't start Aaron Rodgers with Garrett Wilson just yet. He's not used to the number 5. You go to other places for statistical breakdowns. You come here for the gut feels.
Where we get him.
It's where we get them indeed. But we're going to keep this short and sweet here. Let's talk about some gambling lines, too, because with Garrett Wilson, you said you saw him finishing around the 50-yard mark. Would you take his under of 65.5 yards, or would you be more comfortable around something like under 14.5 on a fantasy score?
I'd still probably take his under on yards. Like I said, if you take away DK's blown 56 where the safety was supposed to come back on him, DK was held to like 23 yards and 4 catches, I believe it was, with the rest of the yardage accumulated. So if you go from there, it's not looking good unless somehow Garrett Wilson gets that blow by play. But the issue is does Aaron still have that arm to give it to him?
I think you're still seeing. I mean, he's a 40-year-old man almost who just tore his Achilles. No matter the incredible comeback, no matter the incredible recovery, you're going to see some rust. Also, let's not be wrong that the best days of Rodgers are behind him, but he's still a smart, competent player. You going to cut me the whole time?
You can do all the dark retreats you want and all the ayahuasca you need. You still need to heal the leg properly.
100%. Any other guys I would probably like to ride on this game, keep an eye on where Breece Hall rush attempts goes. Even with Braylon featuring that offense, you're still going to want to attack what's a weaker rush defense, I think, for the Patriots. They haven't really been tested yet with a weak Bengals backfield. Obviously, last week you're talking about K-Walk was back out, but Charbonnet looked good both in the pass and the run game. So I would look for maybe Breece and Braylon because I know 5.5 fantasy score I'll let you talk about for Braylon was a sneaky bet you liked on Prize Picks.
Oh, if you're on Prize Picks, that might be my lock of the week. I think you're gonna continue to see him use the young kid more. He's got fresh wheels on him. We saw it against the Titans. He can come out of the backfield and catch for you. Hell, he caught a 17-yard post. Like, I don't even know corner route, but it was wild. Aaron Rodgers had 2 touchdowns, and they were both thrown to separate running backs. Think about that. That wasn't even his wide receivers. So if you want to have another reason to think on fading Garrett Wilson, he's looking to throw to his running backs over his wide receivers.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And once again, you combine that with Christian Gonzalez, it makes for a beautiful game for the Jets to still win. Final prediction on the score, I'm going to go with, if you have to give me that 16-point spread, I'm going to go with 10-21. Going on the under, though, because I still think it's a Thursday night football game, and these tend to be underwhelming.
Another sneaky bet, I like Joey Sly over 1.5 field goals, or whatever the fuck his name is. Don't know who's I don't know who's kicking in New York, but whatever it was, I took it. I honestly end up thinking he ends up with 3. Aaron Rodgers, like I said, he's just not testing the arm out. Maybe he's trying to save it for the later season when he really needs it. He's playing like that older Tom Brady role in his mind. But with that being said, I think the score is going to be like a 23-13, 23-17 in that range. I think the Patriots get 1 touchdown and a couple field goals, maybe something along that, like that.
Yeah. For that 1 touchdown, final piece, lock in that Ramondre Stevenson tutter, too, because that man is the offense right now.
And it's a demon at the moment.
Let's do it. But anyways, in our traditional fashion, we'll be back later this week with a full breakup of all the Sunday games that we're going to tackle right after this. But we just wanted to give you a little slice before the Thursday games. And as we leave the people, Siglin,
you can't forget Monday night, but to you.